Hi, Namaste. My name is Henry. I am presently in the house of Annamalai Swami, where he lived from 1938 to 1995. This is actually an hermitage for Annamalai Swami. He lived there mostly in silence and practicing constantly the process of self-inquiry, vichara. Today I would like to read some of his answer to some of the devotees who came to ask him questions about self-inquiry. These questions and answered can be found in the book of David Godman, Living by the Words of Bhagavan. A few days ago, David Godman told me that it is important to mention that Annamalai Swami read this book completely. One of his attendants actually translated in Tamil the book of David Godman and read to Annamalai Swami page by page. And Annamalai Swami was happy with the result of the work of David Godman. If we want to know about what is self-inquiry, Annamalai Swami is one of the best person to ask what is vichara, self-inquiry, for he practiced full-time from 1938 to 1995 this process in this house. Toward the end of his life, Annamalai Swami conducted various satsang in this room where devotees from around the world were asking him questions about self-inquiry and spiritual life in general. One of the questions was, what is the correct way to pursue self-inquiry? Annamalai Swami responds, Bhagavan has said, when thoughts arise, stop them by inquiring, to whom is this thought coming? As soon as the thought appear, what does it matter if many thoughts keeps coming up? Inquire into the origin or find out who has the thought, and sooner or later the flow of thoughts will stop. On page 283, he gives some further instruction about self-inquiry. Just watch the mind with full attention. Whenever the mind wanders, become aware of the mind wandering. See how thoughts connect with each other and watch how this ghost called mind catches all of all your thoughts and says, this is my thought. Watch the mind without identifying with them in any way. If you give your mind your full, detached attention, you begin to understand the futility of all mental activities. Watch the mind wandering here and there, seeking out useless or unnecessary things or ideas which will ultimately only create misery for itself. Watching the mind gives us a knowledge of the inner process. It gives us an incentive to stay detached from all thoughts. Ultimately, if we try hard enough, it gives us the ability to remain as consciousness, unaffected by transient thoughts. Next questions. Is it better to meditate like this alone, or is there some advantage in meditating with other people? Annamalai Swami responds, if seekers are always in the company of worldly people who take the mind and the body to be I, they will get affected by their mind currents. Self-ignorance can be contagious. Don't associate with worldly people. Either do meditation alone or do it with people who are also striving to give up their mental attachment. When I discovered Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharishi sometime in 1993-94, I was attracted to the man. I was attracted to that person who was experiencing samadhi, something that I had read in ancient Hindu scriptures. At the time, I was practicing Kriya Yoga, where you bring your attention to the Ajna chakra, and later on, Raja Yoga, where you bring your attention to your heart. Over the last 2 months, I have practiced self-inquiry, mostly in the samadhi of Annamalai Swami, in the company of what I would call heavy-duty meditators, people who can sit for 4, 5, 6 hours and investigate their own mind. You have to be able to close your eyes, at the beginning at least, and watch and witness the thoughts rising in your mind and then disappearing, other thoughts coming and going. And as you witness those thoughts coming and going for hours on end, and you ask yourself, where are those thoughts coming from? For me, that is self-inquiry. Bhagavan compared this process to going to the cinema. The screen is unlimited consciousness, the self. And every images that are projected on that screen is the mind. For the regular man, he does not realize that he is not those thoughts. I understand a little more now about the process of self-inquiry. 12 years ago, I came to the Ramana Ashram and I asked, can anyone explain to me what is self-inquiry? And they told me that there was only one person who could tell me in plain English what was self-inquiry, and that was David Godman. That interview of David Godman has now more than 50,000 views And there's a link under this video where you can experience the answer of David Godman to my question, what is self-inquiry? For most people that have jobs, that are housewives, that have all kinds of work to do in this world, it is difficult to practice self-inquiry. So it is important to start by taking some time every day, if possible, to sit down for as long as you can to witness the mind, to witness the thoughts coming in and coming out of your consciousness. And naturally and gradually, this process will lead you to realize who you are, the self. Thank you very much, and namaste.